If you want to sell more in your reselling business in 2024, then this is the video for you. Today I'm going to be sharing all of the items that have sold in 10 days or less in the last couple of months in my reselling business on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. If you watched my last video, I talked all about how I'm kind of pivoting my strategy to focus a lot more on how quickly I can sell items, because I want to be able to sell items and reinvest that money multiple times rather than buying an item and then having it kind of sit with my capital or my investment hostage sitting on a shelf while we wait for that item to sell. So I thought it would be fun for me to share my personal fastest sales for the last couple of months. If you can kind of hear a scratchiness in my voice or I look a little pale to you, I'm actually just still getting over the flu right now. But I did record the screen share when I was still well. I ended up getting sick the next day when I was going to film this intro. So I apologize for that, but you won't have to listen to my weird scratchy voice for the entire video, just for this intro. So in a second, I'm going to hop over to the computer and screen share with you and show you everything in Vendoo. But first, I want to introduce today's sponsor, which just happens to be Vendoo, which is perfect because we're going to spend most of this video working in Vendoo. So if you didn't know, Vendoo is a reseller tool, which is most commonly known as a cross-listing tool. So for example, if you're only selling on eBay, you can start selling on Poshmark or Mercari or even both pretty easily with just a couple of clicks. It's a really great way to not just manage your inventory, but also really increase your sales because you're getting your items in front of more people. This month, Vendoo has the Sell More 24 campaign that is helping resellers sell more in 2024. And that's not just through cross-listing, because there are a lot of other features in Vendoo that will help you sell more. For example, one of the features that I use almost daily is the bulk delist and relist feature, where you can literally select 10 items. They can be cross-listed across multiple platforms, and within a couple of clicks, it will automatically start to delist those items from those platforms and relist them as brand new listings. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know I talk about Vendoo all the time, even when it's not a sponsored video, because it's such a big part of my reselling business. So if you want to try Vendoo in 2024, go ahead and click the link in the description below and use the code MORE24AM, and you can get 40% off your first month of Vendoo. Now let's head over to the computer, and I'm going to do a screen share with you and show you exactly how to find that report and what formula to put in to show you how quickly items have sold or how many days they took to sell, so that you can quickly see which items are selling the fastest for you. Okay, so let me show you how to figure out which of your items have sold fast. If you have Vendoo, this is how I'm figuring out. If you don't have Vendoo, you'll have to figure it out another way, but this makes it really easy. So I'm in Vendoo, I'm going to click on multi-actions and click export inventory to CSV, and this is going to allow me to download my inventory. I'm just going to look at items that got listed September through today, and not look at older items. I just want to show you more recently what sold quickly. And then we're going to customize headers because we don't need a million different columns. We don't need to look at the rest of this stuff because we're going to look at the items individually. I just want to figure out which items sold quickly. So we're going to generate a CSV, and it's going to take a minute, and then it's going to download. So I opened a new spreadsheet in Google Drive, and I prefer to do it this way than to look at it download it and have it in Excel or Numbers. All right, I'm now in Upload, so now I'm going to drag the file in here, and it's going to upload it to Google Sheets. I just prefer to work in Google Sheets. So we're going to import the data. All right, now everything is loaded in here, and I'm going to sort it by sort of A to Z so that I can remove all the active items, because I only want to look at items that have sold. So all these items I'm going to delete because we're only looking at sold items right now. We're going to delete actives and drafts, and we're just going to leave sold. Oops. I'll right click and hit delete rows, and then now we have a bunch of stuff that's sold. Now we know the listed date here and the sold date is here, and then we know the platform on the price sold. I guess we didn't need that because we're going to look at the items individually. So I'm going to insert a column to the left, and this is going to be days to sell. And this is the formula we're going to use. I just Googled it. I don't have it memorized, so I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it here. Make sure there's an equal, so it's a formula, and then so the end date, comma, start date. So we're going to do end date, which is the sold date, comma, start date. This isn't going to work on this one because all the way down to the bottom, we're going to delete this row. All right, and now this one's crazy because I guess I didn't put a listed date on it. I'm not sure how that happened, but we're going to sort it now. So now you can see all the items and how many days it took to sell. So let's go ahead and open up all these items in Vendoo so that you can see how quickly they sold. All right, now I have about 1 million tabs open, and I think I only got 2 items that were sold within 5 days to 1 day. So we're only halfway through. All right, so this is the first item, and this is a pair of Eileen Fisher pants that I actually have had for a really long time, and I just never listed them. And these literally sold within like a couple hours of listing them. I sold them for $80. And if we go over and look at the Vendoo sale details, you'll see that I listed it on December 20th, and it sold on December 20th on eBay for $84.74, including shipping. After cost of goods and shipping expenses, my profit on this was $65. So this is one of my better sales. I don't usually sell items that are this high. So that was great. So I'm going to close that window so that my computer stops yelling at me. The fan is going crazy. All right, the next item is this pair of Under Armour high-rise full-length leggings. These were new with tags. They're from the palette that we purchased. So my buy cost on this was higher than it would be if I had gone to a thrift store. I probably wouldn't have paid this much for them, but if we go over to Vendoo, we can see I listed them on October 3rd, sold them on October 3rd on Poshmark for $25. After fees and cost of goods, my profit on this was $11.80, but for selling within the same day, that's amazing. Next up is this Minnie Mouse plush. This is actually something that is ours. We got it for Christmas last year, but we are just trying to get rid of so much stuff right now because we are moving. So I put this up for $19.99 because I listed it so close to Christmas. I delayed on listing it, so I would have priced it maybe a little bit higher, but I actually didn't price much lower than everybody else, just a little bit. I think everybody else was around $25, so I just listed it for $19.99 on December 17th, and it sold that same day. And my profit for that was $18.69 since my cost of goods was $0 because it was ours. All right, next up is this Peppermint patty ornament that I picked up at a yard sale over the summer, and I sold that for $34. Let's go over and look at the Vendoo sale details. So I listed it on November 10th, sold it on November 11th for I think $34.99 plus shipping, and after everything, my profit was $28.39. This was actually something that I was at the yard sale. I looked at it and then I didn't really look it up because it was one of those really quiet small yard sales where I felt a little awkward looking things up. But I looked up when I got to the car and then I sent my husband back to go buy it. So that was a nice profit for us. Okay, next we have a Mercari sale, which is fun because I don't have a lot of Mercari sales, but it is this Gap new with tags kind of open front sweater. I actually listed this at $20, but I did accept an offer, let's see, within I think a day. Let's go up here. I listed it on the 12th or on the 3rd and sold it on the 3rd. So yeah, I accepted an offer for $15 within a day. At this point, it was getting close to Christmas and I just wanted to get things sold. So our profit on that was only $4 because it had a higher cost of goods from our palette. It was just one of those things that wasn't going to sell for a ton, so I was okay with just selling it quickly. And then next is this Spider men's shirt. This actually sold in a bundle of 3. I had 4 of these and they bought 3 of them. In a bundle, and I actually showed this in a previous video. I purchased these at Marshall's. There isn't a great way to record bundle sales in Vendoo. I'm just going to show you this one listing in Vendoo instead of showing you every single one of them. But the profit overall was pretty decent on that one, and those sold within 1 day. You can see I listed it on December 7th and sold them on December 8th. All right, next up are these spam containers. They're like spam Tupperware, and I have had these for a while. And I listed them for $39.99. The comps were about $25 per spam container, so most people were selling just one at a time, and I just figured I would sell them as a bundle. I don't remember where I grabbed these. I want to say I grabbed these at the bins like a couple years ago, and I just had them stashed away. But I listed them on December 20th and sold them on December 21st with best offer. I probably could have got what I had them listed for, but I was happy to sell these quickly, and my profit on these was $27.68. Next up are these bottles. I actually had these for my son, and then he didn't really use them. We used them a couple of times, but I just listed them pretty cheap. I think I had them listed for $15, and I took an offer for $13. I listed them on November 13th and sold them on November 13th on Poshmark, and my profit was $10 since the cost of goods was $0 since it was a personal item. Next up is this Pampered Chef Mix and Pour dressing mixer. I actually bought this thinking I would use it myself over the summer at a yard sale for like, I want to say less than $1. After everything, I bundled everything and she gave me a really good price in it all. So I ended up selling this in 1 day, listed on the 20th, sold on the 21st, and my profit on this was $15.86. Next up is this sweatshirt. This is actually one of the many things I'm selling for my sister. She's decluttering, so she gave me a bunch of stuff to look up, and I'm selling some stuff off for her. This is kind of like an independent brand called Girl Scout. There was a few things listed, but not, I want to say none sold. So I did price it pretty low at $15, but it did end up selling pretty quickly, which I was a little bit surprised because, like I said, there were several of this brand listed, and I think maybe 1 or 0 sold. There was not much. But it did sell in one day, and she profited $10.21 for that. All right, next up is this pair of 4 Days pants. They are organic cotton. The only reason I knew about this brand is because I've purchased items from them before, because I do like to prioritize like organic cotton and linen and all those kinds of natural fabrics. So I found these at a yard sale. They were actually covered in like pet hair, and I had to spend a long time rolling them, but they did have tags. So I grabbed those for pretty cheap. And let's see, I listed them on December 7th and sold them on December 11th, so about 4 days. Sold them on Poshmark for $26, and after everything, my profit was $17.78. These slippers, moccasins, whatever they are, I actually showed in a video when I went thrifting over at Goodwill, and these sold pretty quickly as well. I listed them on November 30th and sold them on December 4th on eBay. After everything on these, I made a profit about $13.48. I think I did take a lower offer on these just to get them sold. They are a little bit more worn, so I was okay with that. So this is one of the great things about Vendoo, is this item actually is too old for me to view on eBay, so I can't show it to you on eBay, but Vendoo saves all your listings, all your saved listings, so you can always go back and look at them. So we're just going to look at this in Vendoo. This is a pair of shorts by Social Standard by Sanctuary. This was part of the Sam's Club palette that we purchased, where our cost of goods was about $8.20 per item. And this was one of the items where I didn't think it was going to sell, so I did price it pretty low because there were lots listed. It was about to be cold, and these are shorts, and they just didn't look like they were going to sell, so I priced them low, and I did end up selling them. I did take a loss on them, but I did get some of my money back. So they sold fast in about 4 days, but I did take a bit of a loss on those. All right, next up are these 9 West Heidi crops. These are also from the palette. A lot of the things from the palette that had a lot of competition, I just priced low in order to get my money back because I just didn't want to sit on them for a long time. So this is one of those items. There were lots listed, so I did price them pretty low, and it sold quickly. Let's see, I listed them on September 26th and sold them on the 30th, so about 4 days on Poshmark. I sold them for $12. I want to say comps were right around their $12, $15 range, and I profited a total of 85 cents on that. These Crocs were also from the palette. I got 3 pairs of Crocs in the palette actually, and they were actually pretty quick sellers. So I ended up listing these on October 2nd and sold them on the 5th, so 3 days, and they sold on Poshmark for $29, and my profit on these was $15. Another pair of Crocs. These are a white pair of Crocs. All 3 pairs were like the exact same size, which was kind of funny, but they were all brand new. I listed these on the 2nd as well, October 2nd, and sold them on the 4th. And these sold for $25, and I made an $11.80 profit on those. Next is another Mercari sale. Apparently Gap sells okay on Mercari, because my last Mercari sale that I shared with you was Gap also. So these are just some short sleeve shirts. So I lotted them up because they were the same size. These were also from the palette, so my buy cost was high on these. I would have never paid what I paid for these at a thrift store, but when you buy a palette, it is what it is, right? So I listed these for $25. I think I took an offer for $20 or sent an offer, I don't remember. But I listed them on November 9th and sold them on November 11th, so it only took 2 days to sell. They sold for $20. My cost of goods was, again, really high, and this looks like one of the ones I also forgot to put in the fees. So my profit definitely was not $3. I probably made $1 at most. I'm not going to do the math right now, but it wasn't a good sale. Next was this Petunia Pickle Bottom Mickey diaper bag. This is actually another thing that I was selling for my sister, and we wanted to sell her stuff quickly, so we priced pretty competitively. So that I listed on December 30th and sold it on January 2nd. So it took about 3-ish days to sell, sold for $30. And I was actually surprised because I did price this closer to what everybody else was selling it for. So I was surprised that mine sold so quickly because there were a lot listed. I might have priced a little tiny bit lower, but I'm surprised this sold so fast. And after everything, the profit was $24 since the cost of good was $0 because it was her personal item. So next we have this lot of Free People tanks. They're Free People movement tanks, all the same size. I think I purchased these on Whatnot in like a bundle, but these are a little bit older. I listed them on October 6th and sold them on October 8th, so they took 4 days to sell, but because it was more than 90 days ago, eBay won't let me show you the listing, so we're just going to look at it here in Vendoo. So they ended up selling for $42.75 after shipping and everything, so my profit after everything was $21.69 on that. Next is another item that I sold for my sister. It was a Loungefly Harry Potter bag. Again, I priced this pretty competitively because we wanted to sell things quickly, but not crazy low, and it sold a lot quicker than I expected. Let's see, I listed it on December 30th and sold it on January 2nd. We sold it for $32 and her profit was $25.60. So this little Dior makeup pouch, I think I've talked about before, and I showed it in a TikTok because I grabbed this at a church sale for $1, and it was the only thing I picked up. So I priced it at $20, and I actually got a couple of offers within the first day, but I sold it a couple days later for a full price and made a profit of $15. So this cute little dress I sold really low, as you can see right here. This was part of the palette. Again, another item that I probably would not have picked up for what I paid for it, but it did sell quickly. I priced it competitively. Look how cute it is. So I listed it on October 10th and sold it on October 12th, so it took 2 days to sell on Poshmark for $10. And my cost of goods was high on this because, again, it was part of the palette and I just evenly spread out the cost of goods. So my profit on this was a negative $1.15. Next up is this Carhartt hoodie that I picked up at Goodwill, and I sold it for $27. I think I had it up for $30 or $35, I'm not really sure. But I did list it on December 5th and sold it on December 7th, so that took 2 days to sell on Poshmark for $27, and my profit on that was $15.61. Alright, so next up we have these little like cute angel deer loveys. They're just like little security blankets that I purchased in the video, or I showed me sourcing on Black Friday. I picked these up at Marshall's. And I'm not going to show you the listing since I sold 2 of them, but I sold 2 of them and they are both on Mercari. They both sold for $15. My cost of goods on each of them was $2. I forgot to put in the marketplace fees on this one apparently, so my profit on each one was about $10.42. Next is this Eileen Fisher silk top. I actually picked this up at like a kids consignment sale. Often they have like a rack of women's clothes too, and they were priced really cheap. The only thing is I priced this low because there were little pinholes at the shoulders where they decided to put like a plastic tag to keep them on the hanger. December 12th, and they were listed on the 7th, so about 5 days on eBay. It sold for $19.99, so full price. My profit on this was $10.47. Next is a pair of J. Crew pajamas. I don't usually use stock photos, but I decided to this time. This is actually something I got as a gift for Christmas, and they were not my size. They were too small, so I decided to sell them. I listed them on October 3rd and sold them October 10th, so they sold in about 7 days on Poshmark for $35, and my profit was $28 on those. This is a pair of Athleta leggings that I grabbed, I think, at Goodwill. I've actually grabbed a lot of Athleta leggings lately, so I'm not sure which trip it was. It might have been from one of my Thrift With Me videos. I listed it on November 7th and sold it on November 13th, so it sold in about 6 days on Poshmark for $31. I did take an offer. I think I had them up for $35. And then my profit on those was $16.79. This next piece is a mini rose cashmere poncho. It was kind of hard to get a good picture of this flat lay, but I guess I did a good job because it did sell for $40. I sold it in, it looks like 6 days on Poshmark, and my profit on this was $29.48. I did get it really cheap because it was at a yard sale and everything was like really cheap at that yard sale, and I got a lot of cashmere, so I made probably over $100 just at that one yard sale on a handful of items. Next up is this sweatshirt. This picture, for some reason, looks so dark. It is much lighter pink, but it is a, I want to say Glossier hoodie. I think it's like a skincare or makeup brand. This is something I sold for my sister again. It sold in about 10 days on eBay for $24.99, and it literally just sold recently in the last couple days, so I have not had a chance to fill all this out yet, but it did sell within about 10 days. Next is this Members Mark Kids hoodie. I sold it for $12. This is also from the palette. I actually had 2 of them and they both sold on Poshmark. One of them sold within 9 days and then the other one took about a month to sell. I sold them each for $10 and my profit was negative on both of them. So this next item is again an older item, as you can see from the cost of goods. It is from the palette that I purchased, but
but it is an older item, and it was sold on eBay, so I can't show you the listing, but I can show you that these are some brand new Skechers with the box that I sold for $39.99. They took about, what is that? About 9 days to sell, and my profit on those was $14.07. This is an item from one of my Thrift With Me videos. It is a ModCloth ghost sweater. It was actually in the kids section, so I got a really good deal on this. I listed it on October 2nd, and then I took an offer. I think I had it listed closer to like 70 to see if I could like sell it higher because Halloween was coming up, but I did take an offer of $49 on the 12th, so it took about 10 days to sell on Poshmark. I didn't want to keep it much longer than that because the closer to Halloween it got, the less likely it would sell. So I did profit $28.68 on that, so I'm happy with that. Okay, this next item is a Cabbie dress that I picked up at that same yard sale that I picked up all that cashmere at. I think I did pay a little bit more. I paid $2 for it, so definitely not bad. And it looks like it sold in about 9 days on eBay, and my profit on that was $14.09. Next is this pair of Nike Dry Fit joggers. I actually picked this up in one of my videos again, and I don't usually pick up Nike because, at regular thrift stores at least, because it just doesn't sell for quite enough, but this sold fast apparently because it's in this video, and it looks like it sold in about it looks like it sold in about 9 days on Poshmark. I think I took an offer. It probably was up for about $25, and my profit was still $10.59. So I probably wouldn't pick it up again at $4.99, but it was still fast sale, and I'll take that. So next is an item I got for free. I did make a purchase on the Ulta website, and they were giving away a free makeup bag and a free plush robe, and I don't want the robe, so I decided to sell it, and I listed it for $19.99, and it looks like it sold on eBay within about 8 days. And my profit on that, since I paid nothing for it after shipping and everything, was $13.54. This next item is an older eBay item, so I can't show it to you on eBay since they only show you listings within 90 days, but I can show you in Vendoo because Vendoo saves your listings. It looks like this item sold within about 8 days on eBay. This was a pair of Converse sneakers from the palette that we purchased, so our cost of goods was about $8.20, so my profit on these was about $29.50. What's funny is I had a pair of navy blue Converse also, and those took months to sell, so I'm not sure. I guess red's just better. Next is a pair of Lululemon Fast and Free leggings. I've had these for a while. I think these were in that bin of stuff that I saved from before when we lived in Oregon, so I've had it for a couple of years, and I just never listed it until recently. So these sold in about 7 days on Poshmark for $34, and my profit on these was $18.70. Here's another older item that eBay won't show me, so I'm going to show you here in Vendoo. This sold in about 7 days on eBay, and my profit was negative $2.41, so I didn't make much. This is another item from the palette, and I got a few of these, so I think I have a few left in other sizes. Next up are these Fry boots. I honestly don't remember where I got them, but I sold them for $35. Looks like I listed them on December 3rd and sold them on the 10th, so they took about a week to sell for $28. Oh, it looks like my cost of goods was $14.99, so I'm gonna guess that I got them at a Goodwill, and my profit was only $7.41. And last but not least is this set of Izod boxers that came from the palette as well. Again, an older item that eBay won't show me because it's been more than 90 days. I sold them for $19.19, including shipping, and my profit on that was negative $1.89. So that is everything that I sold within 10 days or less in the last couple of months.
Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you found this video helpful, even those ones where you saw that I actually lost money, mostly because of that palette, because you don't usually have a choice in what you get, and there are always at least a couple of things that you get that are not going to sell well, and you just kind of have to take the money and run. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.